And now we are thrilled to recognize this year's honorees. 2022 has been a demanding year, and these leaders have met the challenge with passion, determination, fortitude, and a commitment to ensure that we the people means all of us.
We have multiple winners in 2 categories this year. The winners of this year's Roger Baldwin Civil Libertarian of the Year Award include our close partners in the Nebraskan for Abortion Access Coalition, IB Black Girl, NEAR, Planned Parenthood, and the Women's Fund of Omaha.
This award honors collaborative work defending Nebraskans' rights and freedoms. Let's turn things over to the honorees.
My name is Erin Feichtinger. I am the Policy Director at the Women's Fund of Omaha, and I'm honored to accept this award on behalf of our organization and in partnership with other awardee organizations. The rights and freedoms you considered secure are no longer, and we're committed to strong advocacy efforts because without control over our own bodies, we are not free. I am thankful for the coalition of partners we work with to protect all Nebraskans' right to make our own decisions about our own healthcare without political interference. We are not just members of organizations, we are members of our communities. And together we are working to create a future where we all have the freedom to control our own bodies, safely care for our families, and live with dignity. The Women's Fund work to create communities where everyone can reach their full potential is in critical danger when women, girls, and pregnant people don't have control over our own bodies. And our movement is growing by the day. All across our state, Nebraskans are advocating for abortion access, and we will continue to be here using our voices loudly and unapologetically to demand a society that sees us as a whole person deserving of equal rights. Thanks again to our partners at the ACLU. We're honored to accept this award.
Hi, my name is Chelsea Souter. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the founder and director of NEAR, also known as Nebraska Abortion Resources. I want to thank you for this award today. We are honored to be part of the Nebraskans for Abortion Access Coalition. And honestly, the success that we have built on our community collective power is because of the folks like you, the folks who show up every day and rally, the folks who show up at the Capitol and testify, the people who get out and canvass and vote and educate folks on what abortion access really looks like for people and why it's so important. And also the storytellers, folks who've had abortions, who are so vulnerable enough and generous enough to share their stories with all of us. So I want to thank you again. I want to give some words of encouragement. You know, we've done a lot of great things in Nebraska, and we've moved the needle slightly, and we have quite a ways to go. But I know with folks like you in the room that we can continue to build that power and continue to make sure that folks in this state have access to bodily autonomy and their rights. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Naomi Thompson, and I am the Policy and Advocacy Manager at IB Black Girl. The team at IB Black Girl is truly humbled and honored to receive this award for our work alongside our partners on reproductive rights in Nebraska. Never in our lifetime did we think or imagine abortion care and access would be in the state that it's in. However, we are committed to ensuring our fundamental rights to access to healthcare, autonomy, and liberation will not be eroded. Thank you, ACLU of Nebraska, for this acknowledgement, and the work continues.
Hi, my name's Adele Burke, and I'm a Senior Manager of Public Affairs with Planned Parenthood Advocates of Nebraska. On behalf of Planned Parenthood and our entire team, I'm so proud to accept the Roger Baldwin Civil Libertarian of the Year Award from the ACLU of Nebraska. This has been an incredibly challenging year for reproductive rights nationally and locally. We saw the U.S. Supreme Court strip away our federal right to access abortion care and our right to control our bodies, our lives, and our futures. Here at the local level, we have extreme politicians who are still hell-bent on blocking and banning abortion here in Nebraska. But I'm proud to say that even in the face of 4 different attempts to ban abortion this year, we have managed to defeat all of them. And today, or more than 4 months after Roe v. Wade was overturned, abortion is still legal here in Nebraska. None of this would have been possible without the extraordinary work of ordinary residents who have lifted up their voices and stood up in support of reproductive rights and abortion access. It also wouldn't have been possible without our incredible coalition partners, including the ACLU of Nebraska. And of course, it wouldn't have been possible without our incredible Planned Parenthood Advocates of Nebraska public affairs team. That includes Cam Neiman, Shaina Barros Santiago, Claire Wiebe, and Andy Curry-Grubb. On behalf of our entire team, and as part of this incredible coalition, we're excited to continue this work together. Thank you.
This year, our Defender of Bill of Rights Award goes to the state senators who filibustered and defeated the total abortion ban. They showed great courage and resilience in the face of adversity last session, and we thank them.
We wish we had time for remarks from all of these incredible leaders, but for the sake of time and given their busy schedules, we will instead play some of the debate from this spring. Let's give it a listen.
The right to determine if, when, and under what circumstances a person reproduces is inherent. It's the right to determine where that person's life goes.
I think ultimately it's the decision of a woman, her clergyman, and her doctor.
And that still is, do not think that politicians belong in these decision-making between a doctor and a woman.
I cannot walk in another woman's shoes, but you all gladly can walk in another's shoes.
One of the things I've been thinking about is what it means if it becomes illegal. If abortion becomes illegal in this state, what happens?
For us to knowingly pass a piece of legislation that would put a woman's body and her health care in jeopardy, how cynical can we get?
So to say that doctors shouldn't be worried, or to say that medical providers are provided for, or all sorts of things, not under the bill that's been proposed. It's a complete ban that creates a felony for doctors.
And then everybody gets up and marches like lemmings and says, oh no, it's a pro-life bill. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out on select file. We're going to vote it through though. This is deeply flawed language.
I feel like we're cherry picking our legislation, and I feel that we're endangering women as a result of this.
And no one who supports this bill gets up and answers these questions. You act like our questions aren't real, and they are. These are real problems that are facing real families and real women.
It's extremely disrespectful for a man to get up in front of a room full of women and mothers and tell them how prenatal development works.
It's the patient's health, not politics, that should guide every medical decision.
And finally, it is our great pleasure to give the Robert M. Spire Founder Service Award to our friend and colleague, Yolanda Chavez Nuncio.
Certainly, and it recognizes a lifetime of service, and Yolanda definitely fits that bill. Those who know her best can tell you about the care and the passion that motivate her to make things better in her home community of Grand Island and across the state.
Yolanda, from all your friends on the board and staff, congratulations on this award.
I think I have to blame who I am, where I am, on my mother and my grandmother. My mother had the very, very first Spanish language radio program in the state of Nebraska, clear back in the 50s and 60s. I can remember when we were children, little kids, we would go with my mom and dad and in the car, and we would stay in the car with my dad, and mom would go in and do a Spanish language program. She was the first Latina Mexican woman, Chicana, to work at one of the polls in Grand Island. And so that was bred, the importance of voting, the importance of your rights and your voice. We're brought up, we're taught to us when we were children. We always believed she was involved in the community. I remember her also going and translating and interpreting for the police department. You know, this was 70 years ago. So the need was there, and so she would do it. She volunteered for the police department and for the hospitals when we were kids, and I remember that all very well. Those were my models, you know, and that's how we got started. So, and then I think the other big factor in my life was that I became a VISTA volunteer. Many, many, many opportunities. I marched with Cesar Chavez. I met Cesar Chavez, and I was connected with other organizations in the state, participated in activities with the Brown Berets. And so we were involved with the first Poor People's Conference, with the Oregon Poor People's Conference, and then with the National Poor People's Campaign. So I grew and learned so much while I was up there that just really then developed me into who I am. In Grand Island, we have the free lunch program, and we have the free breakfast program. And I can remember when I came back to Grand Island, I became involved from living in Oregon. I became involved with the community in different programs, and I went to work with a lady by the name of Miriam Ramirez, and she organized us, and we organized the community to start a free lunch program. And this was back in the 70s or 80s, I don't remember for sure. But, we started with a small group and of community people. And then we ended up going to school board meetings. And all we really wanted at that point was for children to have the opportunity to have lunch at school, not have to worry about eating and not being hungry when they're at school. Now we have both the free lunch and the free breakfast program, and it's 50, 60 years later. We did think about the longevity of it, and the sustainability of that program. We were thinking about kids going to school hungry, and how could we help alleviate that, help them alleviate their hunger. And here we are 60 years later, and it's still going, it's still serving children. There's just been a lot. When I see the number of people now, we have an election coming up, and I look back to my mom being the first Latina poll worker, and then I've been now working at the polls for years, but now we have people, more bilingual people and people of color working at the polls. And, that has taken a long time to reach that point where people can feel comfortable going into many of the sites in Grand Island, knowing that there's going to be somebody there that can help them understand the voting process and understand that ballot, and knowing that they're going to have that right to vote. They have that right to vote, and they're going to be able to use that right to vote. It's really important that members of the community become involved in what's going on in their communities and decide how they can make a change in that community, how they can make the community better for everyone. And the only way to really do that is to become involved, and to become involved with activities and organizations and positions that are leadership positions and decision makers. I'm very proud to be able to say that I'm a part of ACLU, because I believe that the things that ACLU stands up for and defends are things that are important to all of us, whether it be the issues around the jails, the issue with the police brutality, immigration, everything that ACLU defends is important to all of us, the LGBTQ community, everything, because we're all subject to discrimination or to being treated unfairly for one reason or another. Maybe because I'm brown, or it may be because I don't speak English, or maybe because I'm gay, or whatever the reason might be, or maybe because I've committed crimes and paid my time, and yet I'm not given the opportunity to be who I could be. All of those things don't change who we are as people, and don't change the fact that we are entitled to what we deserve. And I appreciate that ACLU stands up for people in all those situations and more.
Thank you all for joining us. We depend on you. It's a team effort, and we definitely want to congratulate the recipients of the awards. There's so many people that deserve it, and those we chose definitely have motivated us all and inspired us all.